What's up everyone, welcome back. So this is going to be, I think, the fourth video in the playlist of a beginner's guide to succulent care. So in today's video we are going to be talking about the pot size. We have already spoken about what are succulents, what are the different types of succulents, how to make the soil mix, and now comes the pot size. Remember, even if you have made the right type of soil mix, if you do not have the right size of pot, you will still have difficulties in growing succulents. It all depends upon the volume of soil that you're going to use for your succulent, which plays a very important role. Just because these are plants, it doesn't mean that you can put them in any pot. Our foliage plants or flowering plants can still manage in larger pots, but not our succulents, because volume matters when it comes to succulents. You'll get to know in some time. So first off, what is the appropriate pot size for your succulents? I would say anywhere between 2.5 to 3 inches is an ideal pot for your succulents. Again, it depends. If you have purchased a large succulent, you will have to go with a 4-inch pot or a 5-inch pot, but nothing bigger than that. But majority of the times when we purchase our succulents, they are not huge. These succulents that you see in front were not this large when I had purchased them, but of course over the years they have been grown, but they have been in this pot since day one. I do not repot my succulents every now and then. They stay in the same pot maybe for another 2 years, 3 years, I don't know. It all depends. If they want a repotting, they will give me an indication by putting out the roots through the drain hole. As of now, all of these are very comfortable. It has been almost 2 years that they have been in this pot. So first off, what I usually tend to do is I tend to collect a lot of these food containers in which I tend to receive my food. These pots are roughly around 3 inches. Of course, we are not going to be filling up the soil all the way till the brim of this pot. It's going to be halfway. So we can say that it's going to be 2.5 inches. The entire size of this container is 3 inches. So there is going to be soil, let's say, up till this. So it's going to be like 2.5, and that is more than enough for a succulent. I also have smaller pots which are 2.5 inches, as you can see. Succulents also do well in these smaller containers as well. These have a width of 4.5 inches. Width also plays a very important role, because as I've said this, whenever you are placing your succulent in the center, there has to be this much space between the succulent and the edge of the pot. This is going to work out really well if you're going to follow. Most of my succulents, you can see they do have space. Of course, they have grown up now, but when I initially put them up, they always had at least this much of space between the stem of the succulent or the succulent and the edge of the container. But now they have grown quite big. As you can see, even this one, there is still a lot of time for it to reach to that stage, but some of them will grow a little bit faster compared to the others. Then I have another container. This is one of my favorite container, and this one also, if you're going to check, it is around 2.5 inches. Now these containers I usually use for making pots. I haven't made any pots of late because of lack of space, but I do collect all these containers. Whatever I get my food in, I keep those containers so that I can save that money in buying pots, because pots are very expensive, to be honest. The ceramic pots or the earthen pots, because last time when I had to gift 6 succulent arrangements to one of my friend, I had purchased those pots from a local potter nearby. So this was the type of pot that I had purchased. This is a ceramic pot, and this is around about 2.5 inches, the same size what our other containers are. I will calculate the amount and put it up on the screen. So this was around 400 rupees, Indian rupees. I'll put up the USD on the screen. So it was not worth, I mean, I can purchase probably 1 or 2 succulents with the amount that I will be spending on these pots. So if I'm growing succulents for myself, I will definitely not be wasting any money on these pots. That is where I recycle these food containers and use them for growing succulents. Now, the major issue what I have seen with a lot of beginners is that they want to grow succulents. They want to grow succulents very large without even understanding that it's not necessary that all of the succulents are going to grow very large. There are certain succulents that will not even grow more than 3 centimeters, like your Graptopetalum mugdoglii. They don't grow very huge. So if you're going to use a pot like this, now this pot size is around about 6 inches. You cannot afford to use a pot like this for a succulent. Any of this succulent, you cannot use a pot like this. The reason, remember, as I said, volume matters. When you're going to use a large volume of soil, that large volume of soil is going to retain moisture. Whether you're using a well-draining soil or whether you're using a porous soil, it doesn't matter when it comes to a large container like this, because the soil is going to take very long to dry in a very large pot like this. Larger the pot, more volume of soil, more soil, longer it will take for the soil to dry, and this will definitely rot your succulent. So you have to be extremely careful. Imagine if I use this pot, I fill it up with my gritty soil mix, but I accidentally leave it out in the rain. Let's say it rains for 4 days continuously. The soil will not have time to dry, because the amount of soil that is going to be present in this, it is going to take at least 7 days or maybe 8 days for it to dry. It is not going to dry completely. There will be moisture at least at the bottom part of the pot, and it will definitely rot your succulent. So you have to be extremely careful. Now, of course, you can use this kind of pot by cutting down on the depth of this pot, but if you are a beginner, don't get into it because it can get very complicated. When you're starting off with succulents, don't complicate things. Keep it as simple as possible, because you're still learning. These things are going to get complicated. If I want, I can definitely use this pot. Probably if I have to use this pot, I will fill up rocks until this point, like 2.5. This entire thing is going to be filled with rocks or maybe leca or broken clay pots or pebbles, and this part is where I will fill in my succulent soil mix. So the rest of the portion is going to be a buffer with only materials that can drain out that excess water, but it is going to be very complicated if you are just starting off with succulents. So please don't get into it. You have a lot of containers that come in, food containers. There are pots. Today we have smaller pots readily available in the market. You can go with them. Apart from that, do not go with a very small pot like this. Like for example, even this pot is around 2.5 inches, but this is an earthen pot. You cannot house a large succulent like this. Whenever you are choosing a pot for succulents, don't think about short term. It has to be long term, because these succulents are going to house or stay in these pots for maybe another 3 years or 4 years, depending upon the variety. So if you're going to use a very small, tiny, narrow pot like this, you'll have to repot your succulent. The more you move and repot your succulents, the more damage they are going to get. They like to sit in one place and do not like to be touched or moved around. Most of these succulents, I only move them around to make a video, and then they go back to their designated area wherever they have been kept. Maybe morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, or for haworthias, it is indirect bright light. So as much as possible, avoid moving your succulents. Of course, if the succulent is getting burnt or if there is rainwater falling onto it constantly, you will have to definitely move your succulent. So it all depends upon your judgment. If you feel that the succulent is not doing well in that particular environment or in that particular space, move the succulent, but that doesn't mean that you keep moving it every other day, because that will again damage your succulent. Here is another pot container. This is a pot that I had purchased just for an experiment. It turned out to be really good. This one is also 2.5 inches, meaning I only use 2 inch of this pot. So 2 inch, from 2 inch, 2.5 inch, 3 inch is a perfect pot size for your succulent. Don't go anything bigger than that. It is absolutely fine. Your succulent will do very well in this size of pot. Ceramic pots, plastic pots, they do retain moisture. So choose your pots wisely according to your environment. If you are from a very high humid environment, let's say you are from a coastal area, avoid ceramic or plastic pots. But if you are from a very dry environment, you can go with ceramic pots or with plastic pots, because our soil mix is already loose, porous and well draining. It is gritty. So if you are from a very dry environment like myself, then you can go with ceramic or plastic pots. It's not going to be an issue. Even if you use earthen pots, then you'll have to be a little bit careful, because if you are from a dry environment, earthen pots will dry the soil faster, so you'll have to keep a watch. So everything depends upon your environment and climate. This is where you need to experiment. Once you experiment and you're completely happy with the results, then you go forward with your soil mix and your pots. Initially, it's all about trial and error. This is what gardening is all about. It's never going to be correct 100%. There is always going to be issues in the garden, and that is how you fix them, by experimenting and learning and not repeating the same mistakes. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.